Where Finland is, it's not in Scandinavia. They'd be very upset if you said that. They're in Nordic area.
You make a great geography.
Okay, so the reason why I'm telling you this tonight is because I had to give this speech tomorrow to 100 people who are likely to be very bored, so I'm hoping I can make it a little less boring for them and explain to them why I am doing the Finnish education system for my dissertation, because I find it enthralling. Okay, so let's start off. Let's give a kind of an understanding of what's going on here. So everyone here at Bristol University, we are here because of the education we've received before we came here. And at a time when we worry about whether there are too many private school pupils at elite universities, I wonder who I could be talking about, this is a very pertinent question. And when it comes to the debate about education in this country, the left are always talking about equality, and the right focused on quality, even if it's not for everyone, even if not everyone gets that quality. And as the years have gone on, the debate has got angrier, and in fact we've got nowhere. We've had no philosophical breakthrough in this argument. The right still go on about grammar schools, and the left still go on about comprehensive schools. So, where are we to go with this? Well, in the year 2000, something happened. The OECD, which is the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, an international organisation basically with the entire Western world in it, and some of the Eastern countries like South Korea and Japan also getting involved. This organisation started testing national education systems against each other to find out where they ranked against one another. And something very interesting, there's always going to be interesting things that came up here. Who was going to be first? What kind of philosophies would be put forward? Well, they did 3 tests. One in maths, one in science, and one in literacy. And one country came out top in every single test. And that was Finland. Now, what's so special about Finland? It has the highest quality education system according to these rankings, but also it has one of the most equal education systems in the world. And what I mean by that is that the difference between the attainment of the top students and the most struggling students was some of the smallest gap in the world. The most struggling students did almost as well as the best students. And the richest students and the poorest students, again, the attainment gap was very small. So what this meant was that if you were poor, you knew that you could do as well as someone who grew up in a rich family. That if you struggled, people would be there to help you. And you would do almost as well as the best performing students. And let's not forget, those best performing students were the best performing students in the world. So this was really a huge thing to say. It was like the holy grail of education. It was where left and right could come together to agree. It said to every child in the end, you can succeed no matter where you come from. But that is, of course, not all. How did they do it? How on earth did they do it? Was there very strict discipline in the classrooms? They tested them hard? No, none of that. The Finnish children have the fewest hours in the classroom of any children in the Western world. Any children in the Western world. They spend hardly any hours in the classroom, in other words. They have some of the least amount of homework. Their parents don't even check sometimes, based on the research that I have done. And that's because they have very little to do anyway. Sometimes they get half an hour. They don't even have to wear shoes in class. They call their teachers by their first names. And there are no exams at all until the age of 16. How different from the other Western countries. All the beliefs of the Western world. Competition between schools, competition between teachers, competition between students, high stakes exams, testing students through every stage, making sure that they struggle through the exams, closing failing schools, sacking bad teachers. All of these are unnecessary in the Finnish system. So what does this teach the world? That maybe we need a new outlook on this. Maybe everything that we've been doing, all of these exams and competition, closing failing schools, maybe these are actually damaging to our children's education. And the best thing is that what the Finnish education system symbolises is the dream of both the socialist and the conservative. The socialist likes equality in all areas. That's what their aim is. The conservative likes equal opportunity from the beginning, and then once people get out into the world, they make their own way. And they also like quality, whether that's for everyone or for very few people. But this education system has something for all areas of society. And this is perhaps not surprising if you consider the history. When the huge reforms were made to the Finnish education system in the 1960s, it was the Communists and the Conservative Party who worked together to make the system that we see today. Both of them came together, and in fact, nearly every other party. In a country that was dominated by the Soviet Union, but had the Western world also on its doorstep. It was in this time, and with all the parties coming together, that they made this system. And this is important, and it's important to understand why this happened. Because, sure, in a country like Britain, where you have 60 million people, you can leave a few people behind, and your country will carry on. But in a country like Finland, where you only have 5 million people, and in the 1960s far fewer than that, you need every single child to do well. Otherwise, you will struggle to survive with so many superpowers as your neighbours. But I'm not saying that the Finnish education system is something we can just translate into our own societies, into our own education systems, and our systems will be hunky-dory. That, of course, cannot be the case. Finland is small, only 5 million, we have 60 million. It's homogeneous. There are only something like 3% of the population who are foreign-born. And in our country, the situation is very different. Finland embraces state education, but Britain is sceptical of state education. The education system is based around a very strong welfare state, and the welfare state is part of Finnish society. Finnish culture is all about this feeling of identity, which is based partially on very little outside contact, a strong welfare state, and a feeling of always being oppressed by those around them, whether it be Russia or Sweden. And during the Second World War, Germany and Britain. So it's not totally translatable. And I'm not saying that Finland doesn't have any problems either. It has employment higher than this country. It has fiscal problems, huge pension crises, and this could mean the end of its welfare state. The future of Nokia is very important for Finland. It had 5% growth in 2007, and 1.5% of that growth was Nokia alone, one company. And the problem is now that obviously with all of these new technologies, Nokia is falling behind. Can it keep up? Can it sustain the Finnish economy? These are questions which they're going to have to face. But what Finland does show us is that it does give hope that we can provide all children a good education. And that's why I'm researching it. Now, when I get to Finland, I'm going to Finland this term, I will be researching whether, for example, the best performing students could perform better if they were in a stream system, whether the Finnish culture and the Finnish history means that it's not translatable, whether the fact that they're a homogeneous ethnic group means that it wouldn't work in other countries. These are the things which I will be researching, and if you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer them. Thank you very much.